Welcome to What's Going On, the weekly podcast and videocast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of What's Going On. I'm Pastor Katie here at First United Methodist, and I'm glad you could join me for this episode. This week, I have another special guest with me. Today, I have Eric Lancaster, who is the chair of our leadership team and a part of the finance team. And so we're going to be talking all things leadership and finance today. So welcome, Eric.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I mean, it sounds like a really interesting episode, doesn't it? Why don't we start, Eric? Why don't you tell a little bit about yourself, what you do, who you are, who you're connected to, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, so first started coming to First United Methodist with my wife, Brooke, who's a lifelong member, you could say here. I'm from Lamar's, Iowa. So yes, I'm a Hawkeye fan to all the Husker fans out there. So we have three daughters, five, 3, and 1, Ezra, Liza, and Elliot. We lived on the Nebraska side for a few years, and now we live over just right down the street, kind of. So, so just dealing with kids and worked out. So I work family business, all seasons power sports. My dad owns it, and then work with my brother and I, and then a couple other employees.
So what does that business do?
All the fun stuff. So like boats, wave runners, motorcycles, ATVs, side-by-sides. We have storage units. We service them, sell them, sell parts, so.
So if you ever have a need along, needing something fun to do.
Yeah.
Eric's your man.
We sell fun. Also ATVs and side-by-sides for the farmers. So, fixing fence, chasing cows, spraying, fixing pivots, all the good stuff, so.
Awesome. So Eric is someone who actually joined the church and then immediately joined leadership team.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you ended up applying for leadership team here.
Dave Corman. No, so they just needed somebody, and it's just nice to be able to, give back, and it's not like it's terrible amount of time. It's really interesting. Once I got into it, I didn't realize how much on the finance side, how much it takes to the church needs for money. The expenses, could always use a little bit more money, obviously. So it's almost time to start getting your cards filled out for the end of the month, so we know how to get the budget done and get all that hashed out. So
yeah, that's one of the jobs of the finance team is in the fall. In October, we kind of use that as our stewardship month. And then that's when you fill out your estimate of giving cards, which you'll be getting letters in the mail at the beginning of October for that. And we ask that you would turn them in at the end of October. But the finance team really takes the lead on trying to set the budget for the next year for 2026. And part of the way that they do that work of discernment is by seeing what is the estimate that's going to come in. Yeah. What are the estimates for our expenditures? What would you say is probably like one of the biggest surprises on the finance side of things coming in that you were like, I had no idea that this was a part of what we do? Or
as the coolest thing, I'll start there. I don't know if I told people, but like the roof, the new roof, it came up, to be running a big deficit. We had to get that figured out. Luckily, Mark Mooney was on the team at that time, and Dave, and just did what they had to do, and on the budget side or whatever. But the roof came, and everybody stepped up, and then it was like a snap of your finger. The money was raised, and the roof was covered, and that to me that was really cool.
Yeah, that was an incredible.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just really cool. But I'd say as far as just everyday insurance, that's going up, and just your normal expenses that you wouldn't think a church has, but it's there, and it needs to be paid, so
right. Yeah, I think insurance always surprises me, the amount, and we've gone through, and everyone is feeling it. I've heard it across the board on insurance going up. But we have a lot of property. Our church building sits on property. We have a property across the street from our church. We have the parsonage as well. And all of that gets insured.
Yeah.
Plus we have staff, which means we have insurance to cover workman's comp and things like that. And those are just necessary things that people don't necessarily think about as a part of our budget and a part of the price of doing missions and ministry.
You have to have people to accomplish stuff in the church, and you need to pay them. And then you have your normal upkeep, like grass, obviously the roof, just the building in general, the elevator, that's going to be another hurdle. But just everything, cleaning and lights, fixtures, all that stuff.
Yeah, so. There's a lot that goes into it, and our trustees have been so great, and they're so great at keeping track and tending to and fixing what they can. But yeah, it's kind of eye-opening on leadership team.
Definitely. It opened mine a lot, and first year, just kind of come into meetings and just sit there and and give my input when needed, but just listen and just try to figure it all out and go from there, I guess. But
and then how did it come that you are now the chair of leadership team in your third year?
Do you want the truth? Just needed someone to do it, and why not me? I guess I can do it, and doesn't hurt to learn new stuff, so I'll do that. And so my term is up in December, I think. December. So if anybody out there wants to jump on, just let me know and you can take my spot. So
fill out an application. And so finance. So let's just talk a little bit about so we have the finance team, and Eric has been a part of the finance team. So they're monitoring the budget and spending during the year, and then work on the stewardship side, which is the raising the funds, as well as the setting kind of a budget, a plan for the next year, as well as being a part of any conversation that requires funding outside of what is budgeted.
Yep. And we do need to say Diane does a great job.
We are so blessed to have Diane as a part of leadership team and on staff with us. She is organized beyond compare. And she's been just phenomenal and a great resource for the church. So that's kind of the role of finance. And we have lately, the finance team has really stepped up to provide our chairs. And I think that's worked pretty well. And so I'm grateful. Our next leadership chair coming for 2026 will be Laura Slowey, who's also finance. And so that is great. And so then we also have trustees. Trustees are keepers of our physical property. They also handle things like insurance because that goes along with our property. But any sort of issues with the church building, with our grounds, with the parsonage, all of that comes under the care of the trustees. And so they stay busy. Trustees is really, if you are someone who likes to be a little bit hands-on, trustees has that element to it. The leadership team is really, they're doing a lot of the big decision making, but there is also the reality that it's not just them doing the work. And so especially with trustees, if you are someone who likes to do projects but not necessarily be in the meetings, let us know so that trustees have a list of people who they can reach out to when there's a project that comes up.
Yeah, I mean, we've had projects, we come out here and clean up that I don't even know what that is on the sidewalk there.
Oh yeah,
years ago it was growing over, so we had a good amount of volunteers from the church that stepped up and cleaned all that up. And anything like that.
Yes. And then we have SPRC, which is are dealing, I call it the HR of the church. And so they are overseeing, staffing, hiring and firing, helping to set salary, and they work in conjunction with finance for that. And then any sort of issues that would crop up in that area, that is really SPRC. And so we have one opening for each of those every year. So you can apply for those. And then we also have our delegates to annual conference, and we always have one delegate from annual conference that sits on leadership team. Lately, that's been Bob Huey. But if that's something that you're interested in as well, we send typically 3 lay delegates to annual conference every year. And those also are, you just apply for that. Same application, you just mark delegate. This year, 2026, I believe we're going to Bismarck. So if you're looking for a road trip in June, that's a great opportunity for you. And then going back again for October, that's really the time to talk about what are we able to give moving forward. And one of the biggest things that I always want to encourage is making a plan. To me, we have to be intentional about our giving, even if it's not very much at this point, and we recognize that the cost of things are just going up.
Yeah.
Every time I go to buy groceries, I'm always kind of like, oh, well, it is what it is. And we recognize that, but we also recognize that everything we have is a gift from God, and we need to prioritize and to be intentional about what we are giving back. And so making that plan, and when you turn in those cards, there is a very few people who actually will see that. The finance team doesn't actually get
No.
specifics.
No, on who gave what or anything. It's just help put the budget together.
Right. So they're going to get kind of this many giving units. This is the total. We've had this many that have increased theirs, this many that are staying the same, this many that have decreased. They're going to get like trends to help make that decision, but they're not getting specifics. So I just want you to be aware of that information really does stay pretty confidential, but in the office and with me. So Eric, what would you say, what would be your encouragement to someone who is considering giving to the mission and ministry? Why do you think that they should give?
I mean, it just helps the church, just getting God's word out there, through the church, they step up, in the community and help people out. Stuff like that. It just helps them be able to do the church be able to, like children's ministry, the 605, and like locks or loads loads of love.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it's just good to help people that need it, and feels good for me personally to help people that need it. So
yeah. So we would encourage that you prayerfully consider what that can be moving forward, and know that there's a lot of different ways of doing it. We have people that write checks. We have people that give when they come and put it in the offering plate. We have people that use Vanco. I'm one of those. I use Vanco. We have people that do direct deposits through their bank institution. So that's another option. People that give weekly, people that give monthly, people that give one time a year. There's a lot of different options. And so we want you just to be aware of that so that you can consider what that looks like that fits best in your budget and best for your family and your values. But I think there's a lot of great things about our church that people can feel good about supporting.
Lots, yeah.
And then we do try very hard to be transparent about where the money's going, how we are being stewards of that, what it's being used for. If you ever want to see a budget and when that gets approved by leadership team, please know that that's available to you at any time.
Yeah.
Or if you'd like to see kind of where we are, just let us know in the office. We're happy to share that with you or talk with members of finance of what are you seeing? What do you see as, I think, you alluded to a couple of years ago, we really did a fine tooth comb of our budget and really cut out any.
There's a lot, yeah. And that was right when I first came on, and, like I said, Dave and Mark, and it had to be done. They did it,
Yeah.
So.
And I think it should be said that our staff and our volunteers and the people that are using those funds have been so faithful to that there's nobody that's really recklessly spending. There's nobody that is going outside of that. They're really being mindful of every dollar that's being spent and how are we being faithful to this, because that's so important. And I'm someone who just is, I'm so adamant that we have proper channels in place with finance in particular, because if I'm going to give somewhere, I want to know that my money's going where
It should, yeah.
it should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eric, one of the places that people might recognize you the most from is selling Hy-Vee cards.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little bit about Hy-Vee cards?
I mean, it's good for the church, they get a percentage of the sales of the cards, and it goes into the Hy-Vee card fund, which can be used to improve, stuff around the church, or sending people on, trips, or whatever it gets voted on by leadership team.
Mm-hmm.
I think recently we just spent some of it to upgrade a couple rooms.
Yeah, so some of our Hy-Vee funds are being used for the upgrades that are happening around the church.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's just good to see that, you need groceries, right? So just go buy Hy-Vee cards and, help the church out while you're still getting what you.
Right, because so if you get $100 Hy-Vee card, you're paying $100, you get $100 Hy-Vee card,
Yeah.
but the church is also getting money back in that.
Correct.
So it's literally, you're not spending anything else, and we're getting money for that.
Yeah.
And so it's a great way of how to stretch that dollar. If you're someone who shops at Hy-Vee, instead of just going in and using your debit card, get Hy-Vee gift cards here. You're benefiting the church. You get the same value.
Yep.
When you go to Hy-Vee.
It doesn't cost you anything.
It doesn't cost you anything. It costs you to remember.
Yeah.
It's like,
not
I'll do
forget
it.
about it.
But that's what a lot of people are doing is, I have to buy groceries anyway. And so it is giving back to the church without adding any more to your budget, which I just think is really cool. And then, we get to use that money we use it for a variety of things. And it again goes through leadership team, how that money is getting used. But, then these upgrades that are happening in these classrooms, they're not coming out of, our budget that is set in the church. It's coming out of this extra bucket that we have that, we've used it during COVID. It was, COVID supplies were coming out of there. And so it's just whenever these needs crop up, we have a bucket that can go to that. So,
like I said, it doesn't cost you anything just to buy a 25 or 50 or $100. I think there's even $200.
Yeah. Which I mean, I can easily spend 200 in a Hy-Vee trip. If you have 5 people in your household, $200 doesn't actually go that far.
Exactly.
So that's another way to give in a way that's kind of outside of the box a little bit. And then the other way is to always think about, like Eric did, jumping right in and being willing to learn. I think sometimes people get a little afraid of the leadership team because they think, well, I don't know how to do those things, or that requires someone who has a lot more experience than me.
Yeah. The good thing is, you have other people on your committee, so you can lean on each other and just bounce ideas off and help each other, and it's pretty easy. And it's just good to do.
And it's a good group of people.
Yeah.
They're good people to connect with. So Eric, what do you see now? Like, you're going to be coming off leadership team. You've got all this now kind of knowledge of the church that you didn't have before. How's that going to affect you moving forward in the life of the church? What do you think that's going to do for your involvement moving forward?
We used to have our men's night out, so we, obviously be involved with that and, help stuff around the church that, whether there's yard work that needs help with, or help move somebody. I know a couple of weeks ago we went and moved the hottest day of the year on a Sunday. We went to Menominee, Nebraska, and their hall moved a bunch of couches downstairs into a trailer to take out to is it Marty, I think? Is that where we went? And it was hot. It was hot, but it's just nice to be able to you know that people can lean on you to help
Yeah.
and something like that. So
Well, and I also want to bring up Eric used his connections within the church as well a few weeks ago to help with a fundraiser.
yeah, so the Bailey family's cystic fibrosis um, uh, fundraiser out at Crofton Golf Course. Jason made all the pork, and then Mark Mooney, Dave, and I made a bunch of Mark's beans. You know, they're cowboy beans, pretty good. And Jason's pork was excellent. So yeah, we did that, and a couple years ago we helped move somebody out of the house over by Fox Run, and there's been other stuff too. I just can't remember.
Yeah, so I just love hearing that, like, that connection, the connections that you made here, that it's allowed you to have opportunities to get to serve and to give back. And I'm looking forward to the ways that that continues to happen. And plus you'll see him around because he's got those 3 little girls that are.
They don't sit there. Yeah, I'll be chasing them around, you know, in the bath.
Well, I mean, I think we all recognize that, you know, we want our kids to feel at home in church. That's, to me, that's just such a high priority, not only as a pastor, but as a mother. I want our kids to feel like church is as much for them as it is for parents and everyone else, that this is a place where they can come and be loved and to belong and to feel at home. And so I love having kids in church. And the pastor side of me doesn't notice it at all. And the mom side of me only notices it when it's my kids.
Yeah. I'm one of 8, so we filled up a pew in church every Saturday night or Sunday. So back in
Yeah. But I mean, the kids are, a church without kids is a church that's dying.
Yeah.
And so the voices and the energy and the smiles of children, to me, are just, that is a sign of life and a blessing. And your girls certainly are a blessing.
Yeah.
I enjoy them, and we're very much in a similar season of life. And so that's the other thing, is that
You kind of see my eyes, how I'm stressed and tired.
but you and I are about the same age. And we were kind of the young ones on leadership team. So I think we also need to put a plug in to get another younger person on leadership so that I don't feel alone. Because I've had Eric the last 3 years to
We'll find someone.
understand my references. And but thank you so much for joining me today. And hopefully this gives you a little insight, and especially with someone who you know, gave it a shot, didn't know what he was getting into really, and came out of it feeling like he's learned so much and has grown so much. And so maybe that's the right thing for you as well. And that's what we hope. And so God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of What's Going On, a video and audio podcast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota. We'd love to have you join us for worship on Sundays at 10 a.m., either in person or via our live stream, which can be found at our website, www.firstumcyankton.org, or by searching First UMC Yankton on YouTube.